Hi, my name is Mahatma Gandhi, and I am fighting for nonviolence in the debate between violent or nonviolent protests.
Hi, my name is Fannin and I'm fighting for pro-violence.
There is no way to go about fighting for true freedom unless it is rooted in nonviolence. Just listen to my quote. A nonviolent soldier of freedom will covet nothing for himself. He fights only for the freedom of his country.
Fighting in wars gives soldiers purpose and gives them a sense of national identity.
There is no such thing as national identity without nonviolence. Nonviolence requires everyone to come together as a nation and acts as a helping hand for the opposing country. War tears people apart.
With violence, you need the input of less people to initiate action, and it also takes less people to produce a greater outcome than nonviolent protests would.
Just ask Russia and France how their revolutions went with the use of violence. It ended with them losing their ideals for democracy.
How does violence not fight for democracy when it's the driving force of politics?
Violence is not the driving force of politics. The only way to have true freedom within a country is with the use of nonviolence.
Violence creates an issue and draws major attention to it, and most people who go to war would say they're fighting for their freedom.
And there is no hatred toward the people of the country and just their governmental tactics. Why go to war?
Because in order to get people to listen and take action, it is necessary to use violence or the threat of violence. Many people will not simply listen if approached in a peaceful manner. For example, if your cat is sitting on your pillow and you want them to move, you might try to ask them nicely and coax them off, but chances are they're not going to listen. If you want them to move, you have to use force and pick them off the pillow yourself.
I would rather try over and over again using nonviolence. Religiously, when two countries go to war, it brings about religious intolerance and segregation, only adding more fuel to the fire.
But don't you care that nonviolent protests produce much slower outcomes compared to using violence? One seems to be clearly more effective than the
How
other.
quickly the outcome of the matter is not up for debate here. The only thing that matters is if the issue is resolved or not. Fighting with nonviolence brings about a sense of unity between the two opposing countries.
One of the most unifying things is religion, and oftentimes people go to war to create peace and justify it with
A
fighting for God.
nonviolent protest is fought in the same way, with faith from God. The only difference between the two is with nonviolence, there is no failure or defeat. As long as the most minimal amount of lives are lost and the dead is escaped after the war, that is a win in my books.
Failure and defeat is necessary. Not everything in life is just win. War is essential because nations have the right to defend themselves, and it showcases the severity of creating conflict between countries. Part of the outcome of war is debt and deaths, but those are also outcomes of many nonviolent protests.